Chapter 113 to 114. As compensation, you can eat this fruit. Amon had a strange fruit in the color of soil, with unique encrypts in his hand. Eh? Vivi expressed her surprise by taking a few steps back. She specifically wanted to move her face away from his. Amon let her do it so that she could grasp the situation. Feeling the wall on her back, Vivi blinked with her mouth agape. When did you come here? That's not important. Anyway, catch this. Amon threw the fruit. Vivi was barely able to catch it. For around 3 minutes, she kept inspecting the fruit. You want me to eat a devil fruit? Vivi was surprised. She has studied world politics a lot. For that reason, she also gained a lot of knowledge in other fields. One of the fields was devil fruit powers. She knew how powerful and useless DFs can be as well. As seconds passed, she looked at Amon's relaxed eyes. Vivi's shocked face formed a frown. Her red face returned to its normal form. What fruit is this? Father never told me anything about it. Vivi was curious and suspicious. Amon laughed. It's sand fruit, one of the rare logia category. It is one of the destructive logias. You'd benefit a lot from eating this. This is something your father and I talked about before the engagement. I guess he didn't tell you because you might grow too dependent even before eating it. Vivi was surprised hearing this, but she still could not believe it. I will come back in a minute. Saying this, Vivi ran through the door, rushing towards Cobra's room while still clutching the fruit in her hand. Vivi Pov. Oh, I didn't tell you because I was unsure. You might have been too expectant if the marriage didn't happen, or if Lucifer didn't bring the fruit. You would have been disappointed and sad. So I didn't reveal it anyway. Isn't it a pleasant surprise now? That's what Father replied after I asked him about this deal with that man. Now, if I consider this, it makes sense why Father agreed with the engagement 5 years ago. I walked out of Father's room and went towards my room. It truly is a powerful fruit. I looked down at the fruit in my hand. Sand fruit. From what I know about devil fruits, their usage gets a tremendous boost based on the environment. So that fruit is perfect for me. I don't see any loss from eating this fruit, but isn't that crocodile's fruit? 4 years ago, Sir Crocodile died. Because of a heroic marine, his bad deeds were revealed. From there, I learned how he planned to take over Alabasta. I couldn't bear with it, and started to prepare myself for something similar in the future. Father didn't let me learn how to fight, so I'm still pretty weak. If I had enough strength, I wouldn't have been taken hostage in the sky. I'm well aware of this, so I tried my best in other areas. Currently, my best perk is my knowledge. I'm prepared for things that might harm me, my father, and my kingdom. But knowledge isn't enough to protect them. I need actual power. I tried to gain political powers, but since I'm still 14, I can't do much in that department. I gulped and looked back at the fruit again. It doesn't matter if it's crocodile's fruit or not. To begin with, nobody knew what crocodile's fruit was. They just knew some of its abilities, so this might possibly be another fruit. Now, not only with my knowledge, but I can also use my own strength to protect Alabasta. I will accept his offer. Nodding to myself, I walked through the door. Inside, that man is eating grapes. He noticed my presence and walked towards me with a wide smile. So, did you decide? He asked as I nodded. He is not as bad as I thought. A smile that I wasn't aware of bloomed on my face. I'm sure our life would be long and beautiful. General Pov. Days later, after taking permission from Cobra, Vivi was permitted to train with Amon. He was simply happy that an emperor was training his child. She was deemed to grow into a powerhouse this way. Vivi was also happy being able to learn how to fight. Vivi, try it. Focus on the design first. Yes, I'm trying to concentrate. In a large training hall located in Alabasta, Amon and Vivi were alone. Amon was training Vivi, who has now eaten the sand fruit. Amon stared at Vivi, who had her eyes closed, concentrating. Phew. Vivi took a deep breath. Her eyes opened with a dedicated glim within them. In seconds, the sand outside the building came flying through the window and started to form a humanoid body made of sand. Seconds passed. The sounds of sand colliding with each other filled the hall. Amon clapped from the side. Wow, you did it on your second try? You are a genius, as expected of my wife. Vivi blushed and avoided his gaze. Yeah. She seemed happy hearing his praises, but this single carelessness made the sand humans deform. Dup! In seconds, the solid sand soldier crumbled down. Ha-ah! I messed up. Vivi's eyes became teary. It was like making a card house after spending all day, but a single burst of wind destroys it. I've been concentrating for half an hour now. Seeing Vivi down, Amon walked towards her and stroked her hair. It's okay, you did fine. This is only your second try. You already learned many other techniques the previous days. Vivi enjoyed his care-filled hands on her head. She placed her head in his chest as Amon threw his hands around her shoulders and hugged her. As long as I am here, you do fine. Now, since you are already tired, we should stop for today. Amon gave up a lot of his free time for Vivi. It seems an emperor had less worry than a guild master. Then, Vivi looked at Amon with expectant eyes. She was like a puppy. Her previous rebellious self was long gone. Amon stared at her. Girls in their teens. He just shook his head. You won't be able to walk if we do it too much. Don't forget your body is small and weak. Train more if you want to do it any time. With a red face, Vivi humphed and turned away. That's right, they did it. Amon spent around a week here in Alabaster, and Vivi didn't fail to get him on the bed, though Amon did it by his own will. It was a necessary step to take if I wanted to completely subdue her. As a few minutes passed, Vivi fell asleep with her head resting on Amon's chest. Amon ignored her and planned his next action. I wasted too much time with this shitty, spoiled brat. I need to make quick moves. Just because the emperors are observing now doesn't mean they will continue to observe. If Amon tries to make a big move, the emperors will surely step forward. For that, Amon first needed to make the moves that would increase his protection. Power without a means to keep it wasn't good at all. So he needs to start taking over strong islands and recruit strong individuals. Among them, some particular things needed to be done right now. Claiming Gran Tesoro, the largest entertainment city in the world. Claiming Gecko Moria's thriller bark. Claiming the whole Amazon lily. First of all, I need tremendous wealth to make some particular moves, so Gran Tesoro should be my first target. Amon already asked the old elders to not mess with Gran Tesoro when it would be under his name. If they don't listen, Amon will just leak the clips. They had no choice except to listen to him, but someone needs to watch after Gran Tesoro in his stead. He can't always be present there, but he also can't let such a big thing stay unprotected. I guess I will just brainwash Tesoro, although there are some drawbacks, Amon decided. But he won't go there himself. While Amon was busy making Vivi familiar with her powers, in Skypiean, something special was taking place. We got the news. Some small pirate crews have invaded Angel Island. They are currently hiding, seemingly preparing for a perfect time to attack. Reiki was explaining to the people in front of her. In front of her, many people of different ages were sitting. All of them were Shandorian. They listened to her every word unconditionally. This time, I will send 5 teams. Each team will have only one person. Your jobs will be to gather as much information as possible about them. Reiki stared at their faces. I will say this once, so listen carefully. Do not engage in a fight. That's not your job. You will only gather information. Am I clear? Yes, the people in front of her shouted in unison. These are some teachings Reiki learned from the different moons. After asking Amon's permission, she was now applying these to the promising Shandorian. Reiki pointed her finger forward. Rai, Ray, Gigolo, Haruma, you four will do this raid. Some people looked dejected that they weren't picked. Some looked happy. The four had a delighted expression that they were picked. And lastly, Raki looked at a 4-year-old who clearly wasn't paying attention to her words. He was thinking about how to get his hands on an automata. He wanted to dismantle them, then learn the secrets of the universe. Karna, you will go too. Kid, if you fail, I will whip you for 5 hours. After someone nudged Karna, he returned to reality. He grumped after hearing her, but he was forced to do as she asked. He was 4. But his mind was developed enough to think like an adult, though that didn't mean he was as mature as an adult. He was still a kid who was stimulated using Amon's hypnotic powers a few days ago. Though his personality remained the same, he knew he was someone who would only serve Amon. Only serve Amon. Because of this line, he hated being ordered around by anyone other than him, even if that is Raki, who everyone else respects. I heard this girl, Raki, used to be looked down upon when she was young. People said she only grew where she was because Brother Amon treated her like a sister. Karna thought with his furrows knitted. Crazy woman. But all that is in the past now, she is strong. She cut those vice admirals in half, the ones who were on the verge of beating Wiper. For that, people now respect her for herself. He didn't even think of dismantling her. He felt a chill run down his spine under her gaze. Because unlike Amon, she didn't hide anything. Then a sweet smile bloomed on Karna's face. Yes, big sister. I will go. People would have thought he was a natural actor, but in reality, he was someone who couldn't maintain his facade for long. People knew this kid was crazy, but they knew he wouldn't harm them. He saw them as his family. It was true, even though Karna had fantasies of dismantling people, even though he had this thought every time he looked at a person who was not his mother, father, or sister. He still knew he couldn't touch a Shandorian. He was attached to them. Soon after, he left along with the other 4. The other 4 were all adults. He was the only child, but nobody questioned anything. It's almost as if they knew the kid would be safe. Would he really, though? Raki sat down on a chair while reading adult magazines and drinking lemon juice. She was waiting for someone who she called just a while ago. Ah, this girl is good. The magazine was filled with Skypia girls. This was how modern the Skypia was. Modeling was quite normal here, and this was something happening even before Amon came into power. Raki scratched her cheeks. I have to say, Coin is on the level of models. I recall she had a daughter. Interesting. While Raki started to laugh cheekily, trying to copy a young Amon, the person, or rather the robot she was waiting for, reached the place. Ma'am? Automata Short Motor is here? Reiki glanced at him, Short Motor, and put the book down on the table. You are here? I recall calling Ghost Motor, but whatever. As the leader of Motor Gang, you are more appropriate. Reiki didn't like Short Motor. He was supposed to be a heinous existence who hated his creator, thus forming the Motor Gang. At first, when they reached the moon 4 years ago, Amon let Motor punch him in the face, sensing his anger. Amon found it interesting that a robot could feel emotions to that degree, so he let things proceed smoothly. However, even after the punch, the automata didn't subdue. But just when Raki threatened to stop Motor that time, he did after inspecting her body. Heh. Mom, ask me anything you want. This was why Raki didn't like him. He was weird. Just like how Amon had expected, Short Motor was interesting. He could not only feel clear anger, but he could also feel enough emotions to be a pervert. Reiki snapped hearing him and seeing his smile. Shut up. Didn't I ask you to not smile like that? She glared at him as Motor jumped back, He gulped his non-existent saliva. Raki sighed after a second. Listen, go after the kid named Kana. Protect him at all costs. Short Motor's eyes shined. Such a pure girl. Although she acts like a cold-hearted woman, she cares about that cheeky kid, as expected from my goddess. Yes, God Kofmam. While Reiki glared at him, Motor turned around and flew like Iron Man. Amon did many experiments on his body since he was a special existence with multiple bodies, so even if one of his bodies gets destroyed or harmed, he would still be there. He had 12 bodies. Each of them acted differently, but in reality, all the bodies are connected using wireless technology. Even though 12 of them act like they are different people, they are actually the same being with a single mind commanding them. This was because Short Motor was an engineer. He experimented on his own body, and when all the automata were out of battery, he used his genius to charge himself using different techniques. He unknowingly used haki, a special form of haki which charged his battery. Being lonely, he created another automata by himself. However, he didn't have enough knowledge to make a brain for the automatas, so he used a wireless connection and controlled all the bodies by himself. He acted like 12 people by himself, trying to keep his mind away from breaking down due to the loneliness he felt. Short Motor, the leader of the motor gang, flew like Iron Man and followed Kana from the air. Kana Pov. This is a construction area. I am currently hiding behind a boulder. Big Brother Amon had decided to make Angel Island bigger, so he ordered the engineers to add more island clouds to the main island. They were doing so, and many buildings were halfway done. Today is a holiday, so no construction workers were working on the site. If I was those pirates, I would have come here seeing this as a chance. And yes, after searching for a while, I found a pack of them. I don't have observation haki, or things would have been easier. Unlike Sister Isa, I'm not talented at it. I can use a bit of it, but it's too weak. For it being too weak, I suffer a lot. Like right now. Caught you, kid! Suddenly, a gruff voice entered my ears, and before I could turn back, my hands were restrained. I only sensed this guy when he was 1 meter close to me. I really am not meant for fighting, huh? Kid, I sensed you a while ago. Ha ha. The man looked at my head. I didn't have those hair antennas like the Skypieans. So you are a Shandian? From that island? Wow, looks like I caught a big fish. The man prepared to walk towards his group along with me in his hands. I didn't struggle. It was useless and meaningless because, let go of Kana. A robotic voice came from behind me. Because I knew someone would come to save me, I'm precious. I laughed a little while the man who caught me flinched. I couldn't see which robot it was since the man covered my eyes, but I ordered it. Attack him, my automata, Slav! Bam! Before I could finish, though, I was hit with what I assume is a revolver in the head as I felt my head get wet. Shut up, kid. A robot won't be enough to save you. I was bleeding. Ugh, I never bled before. This thing hurts. I was suddenly frightened. I was my family's precious child. They always protected me. So this was a new type of feeling for me. The man who had me restrained laughed. Ha ha ha. A robot that can talk? The man laughed again. That's comparable to Germa 66. Hand yourself over, robot, or this Shandian kid will die. Ugh, he knows about Germa 66. I guess he is someone formidable, or just a fanboy. Anyway, I feel scared. I didn't even test a human body. Will I die here? I almost peed my pants, and it was then. You. The robotic voice started to sound more natural. No, it wasn't natural. It was gruff like an animal. You touched the wrong person. The voice got gruffer. It was as if a lion was talking human language. The man's hands shook and were removed from my eyes. My eyes fell upon the robo-no. It wasn't a robot. It was a living being, a lion or a tiger. I, Short Motor, the one with the ligger fruit, will stop you from harming him. I won't disappoint my goddess. The man holding me started to shake. It shouldn't be just because of the dangerous look of the creature alone. It must be something related to his devil fruit. Whoosh! The creature vanished from in front of me as I was covered in blood the next second. I was shocked, but I was able to get a grip and grasp the situation. The man died. The robot, the humanoid ligger, killed the man. His head was cut in half. A robot can become a humanoid creature with flesh and blood with a devil fruit. I was on the verge of how interesting devil fruits are. Losing consciousness. With that, my world went blank. I was too shocked because of the blood. 4 years ago. After staying on the moon for a few days, Amon was having words with a few automata. Among them, the motor gang was present. Ugh, it takes to the bad, creator. What was that thing anyway? Short Motor had eaten a fruit given by Amon. It was a devil fruit. Amon ignored his question. Rather, he asked his own question. You don't feel any change? Amon asked. He knew that non-living creatures can use devil fruit powers too, as shown many times throughout the series. But, no, I don't feel anything. Should there have been something? Short Motor made a confused face. Amon fed him the blanket fruit, a paramecia, but it didn't work. A zoan would work, I'm sure. It was because the devil fruit used non-living creatures shown in the anime were all zoan users. The theory goes like this. Zoan fruits have a body sealed in them, the body of a particular animal. When someone eats it, they get the ability to switch to that body. This way, even non-living beings can use zoan fruit powers. They switch their non-living body with that other body. Though it's still a mystery how one can make a non-living being eat a fruit. And what about the fact that non-living beings can think after eating the fruit? There might be a sealed life form along with the sealed body, or some kind of bullcrap. I don't want to think too much. Amon then took a fruit and threw it towards Short Motor. Eat this. This will work. It was the fruit of Ligger, the ancient zoan.